TG Geeks, episode 398, October 3rd, 2022. Deadbeats and Druids. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely, oh my gosh, it's October already, Phoenix, Arizona, and the monsoon is still going.
I was going to say that. I'm Ben Raginson coming to you from It's Still the Monsoon, the longest monsoon. It's not a monsoon, it's a mon long here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, let's get right to it.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, in this episode, we are talking to David R Slayton, who is writing the Adam Binder novels, and he has Deadbeat Druid that is just about to come out on October 18th. We're going to chat about that, and then we'll have our birthday shout-outs, our podcast of the week, feedback, shout-outs, and maybe something in the second segment.
A couple of things pegged if we have the time.
And wacky weekly recap and our regular shout-outs. So let's get right to talk to David. And this time we welcome back to the show Mr. David R Slayton. Welcome to the show, David.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's great to be back.
Always nice having you on the show.
Always nice. And we didn't give you any title or what you've done or anything, but there are some folks that don't know who you are. You want to give us a short bio of who you are and what it is that you actually do? Well,
sure.
Why are we talking to you anyway?
Yeah, this part of my existence. So I'm the author of the Adam Binder novels that start with White Trash Warlock and follow up with Trailer Park Trickster and the soon-to-be-released Deadbeat Druid. I also have 3 other books coming out in the next 2 years or so. Dark Moon Shallow Sea, which is an epic fantasy. It'll be from the same publisher as my Adam novels, Blackstone Publishing. So it'll be out in audio, print, and ebook. And then Blackstone is also publishing a spin-off to the Adam novels called Rogue Community College.
Ooh.
That will be out in October of 2024. And I also have from a different publisher a gay, geeky rom-com called To Catch a Geek, which will be out.
That sounds
2023. Like, I'm still waiting on the date.
So. That sounds like fun.
That's the one I'm really excited about.
So we're here to talk to you about Deadbeat Druid because in 17 days, 15 from the day this publishes, it will drop on Amazon. So tell us about Deadbeat Druid. What's, give us kind of a rundown on the first 2, just real quick synopses, and then what happens in Deadbeat Druid? Where are we picking up and where are we going with this?
Sure. So previously on.
Last time.
In White Trash Warlock, Adam Binder had to travel from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I'm from, to Denver, Colorado, to make up with his estranged family when they realized that maybe his seeing into the spirit world and such things were not mental illness, but were actually real because his sister-in-law becomes possessed by a terrible spirit. Maybe Adam was right about this stuff. Adam's a nice guy, a hero, goes to help, and, also gets the chance to say, I told you so. Meets a guy, kind of maybe falls in love, And then at the end of White Trash Warlock got a bit of an emergency call, bringing him back to Guthrie. So he takes off from Denver back to Guthrie and a bit of a panic and doesn't tell anybody he's going, which leads to the guy he's been dating, Vic, chasing after him, as well as Adam's family trying to help. That led to a fantastic road trip through the spirit world with Vic and Argent, the Elven Queen of Swords, who's a fan favorite character. But at the end of Trailer Park Trickster, we had a bit of a Pyrrhic victory. Adam finally faces down the big bad of the series, the Deadbeat Druid, but Vic was lost. And book 3 is a literal road trip through the underworld to get Vic back.
Wow.
I feel like I'm going to have to at least go through the second book again before I pick up on this third one, because, oh my gosh, there's so much going on in that second book.
Yeah.
It's a tightly packed, it's like 70 some odd thousand words. A lot happens in that little book.
But one of the things that I really like about your writing, because of people like you and Katie Edwards, I have just become such a rabid reader. I'm always picking up books. I'm always reading. So I'm really grateful to authors like yourselves. But I've noticed that there are some authors that have a really bad idea when it comes to pacing. I've read books that were not that big, and yet each chapter felt like I just finished reading a novel, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean, they're absolutely exhausting the way they're really packed in tightly, and the way the narrative flows. You're not like that. You've got an outstanding narrative flow that you feel like you've just read one complete, very, very well-told, detailed story. But as I said, there is so much going on in that one. I mean, I remember when I was done with it, I thought, my God, this was what, I'm going to betray my age here. This was what we call in Disneyland terms an e-ticket ride.
Well, and I appreciate that, because for me, there's a whole lot of, in epic fantasy particularly, I don't want to know about every leaf and every tree and everything about every town. And some people love that. They love an epic fantasy that just sprawls.
Info dump.
Yeah, well, and just really draws you in. For me, and that kind of lengthy prose makes some readers so happy. Dark Moon Shallow Sea is a crisp 100,000 words. I love books like Wizard of Earthsea that can accomplish all of that, but in a much smaller span. And that's my goal with my work, is to try to give you that action movie kind of pace, which I think Katie Edwards does such an amazing job of, but also room to breathe. But I tend to underwrite. A lot of authors, they write books and then have to cut out 20,000 words, 30,000 words to get it published. Mm-hmm. I tend to have the opposite problem. I tend to need to add. I tend to write too lean sometimes.
Interesting. But it just, the way you write is so filled with information. It doesn't seem like that.
No, it's and you're right. There are some authors that I just love to go for this massive info dump, and there are readers that like that. I'm not one of them. I don't care for that, because then I feel like I got to take notes. It's like, okay, you mentioned this. You wouldn't have said that if it wasn't important. So I better, next thing I know, I've got a book that's got all sorts of notes. When I was reading paperbacks, it was like I had to put sticky notes all over the place just so that I could keep track of all the little details they gave. And I love the fact that you're able to give this really nice balance between, how can I say it? The basic universe the story takes place in, along with character and story development. And again, the pacing of that is so well done. Because I don't feel like that I've just ran a 3-mile marathon in 5 minutes. I don't feel that, which I like, because there are so many authors that do that, and in your case, it's one really nice told story that has little bit of side trips here and there as you're getting from point A to what will be point B, and like I said, he's another great author in that respect, and I've really come to respect how you're approaching that as well.
So tell us if you can share anything about the Deadbeat Druid, because this sounds like an Orfeo et Eurydice kind of going to the underworld,
to
pay the
rescue the loved
ferryman
one, yes.
to rescue the loved ones.
It's very much inspired from that. I'm really glad in the way that I didn't see Hadestown until after I'd written it, because otherwise that might have deeply influenced it. I saw Hadestown about a month ago. I'm like, this is amazing. One of the things in my studies is reading a lot of classical literature, being conscious of myth, and that tends to play in. I wanted this to be like the Odyssey, with an underworld journey to it.
Right.
But instead of islands, I'm using ghost towns or locations on the drive between Oklahoma and California on Route 66.
Oh, cool.
Far out.
Or in this case, Route 666, because I couldn't leave the coast on turn. And it gave me an opportunity to weave in more like hidden history. And if you know me, if you've read my work, and you two certainly do, I love to try to pull in things that people may not be aware of in our history and put that into my books and make it part of the narrative.
Right.
For example, a lot of people don't know that there were German and Nazi POWs stationed across, the Midwest and the Southwest during World War II. And in Oklahoma, it was a real issue because they didn't necessarily lock them up. They just wander off.
Right.
You'd find them wandering around. And that's something I got to bring in, just a little piece of history I got to bring in, integrate into this story. So that's the kind of thing that I like to try to incorporate where I can. So this one is very much a road trip through hell, to see if the guys can get back together. But the second point of view is taken from Vic's perspective. So you have Adam driving to find Vic, bringing along some allies. And then you also have Vic trying to find his way out. So it's the two of them literally having to move together. And I liked playing with the idea of what is the underworld in this sense? What are demons in this sense? Can I give you a different perspective on those ideas? And that's what I tried to do with Deadbeat Druid.
Interesting. That's fascinating. So you're going along old Route 66 and are you actually naming the towns, or are you changing the names of existing towns?
In some cases, I'm naming the towns, like Watauga, where my aunt lived for a long time.
Right.
Just near to Guthrie. Weatherford, where there's a really creepy true crime haunted place called Dead Woman's Crossing. Dead Woman's Crossing plays an important part in the story. So I'm using things from reality and real history. The flooding of Amarillo is a plot point.
Right.
The nice thing about my underworlds and my spirit realms is they cross through time a lot. There is a conversation there about, like, you might see a dinosaur because it's extinct in our world, but it's wandered over there and still exists.
Interesting.
So I love that.
That's really fascinating.
I also like the fact that, and I know you've done this with the first book. I think you did this with the second one too. Is pick on places that, I think I might be repeating what you just said, but yeah, I remember you mentioned places that maybe don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Locations, a restaurant or a theme park or something like that.
And there are a lot of those on Route 66.
And insert that into the spirit world, or in some kind, give it a little bit of a twist, that's sort of an Easter egg to people who might know about those.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love reminding people or finding things. My in-laws were just in town, and we walked through Lakeside Amusement Park here in Denver, which features prominently in White Trash Warlock, and being able to show that to them. And it's such a beautiful, magical place, even though it's kind of falling into ruin. The other time I go, it's just a little bit more broken down, and also there's a little bit of attempts to paint some things and fix it up a little bit too. So it's just such a mixed, bittersweet feeling visiting that place.
So derailed train of thought, has Casa Bonita opened back up?
No, we did drive by there, and I was so sad they didn't get to go. It had, because the guys from South Park bought it.
Yeah.
They repainted it, so it is Pepto-Bismol pink again.
Ew.
Well, that's what it was.
But
for.
if that's I know
that's the iconic.
I know it's
color.
It's such a disgusting color, but you're right. I mean, it's part of its character, so I suppose it has to have that.
When I first visited it, 6-7 years ago, it had faded, right? So now it is like bright pink. They've taken the fountain out front down to fix it, but they brought in a real chef who's completely they just gutted the entire kitchen. But it's unfortunate. I guess they keep finding more problems, so it hasn't reopened. And I am very excited. I will be first in line as soon as it does.
Yeah, the building in Tulsa is still there, and you can see it. But obviously somebody was posted on Facebook the other day about the Casa Bonita in Tulsa, but anyway. That was just a derailed.
My dad drove us over to Tulsa to go there once when I was a little kid, so I vaguely remember the Tulsa one.
Yeah,
when it was still a Casa Bonita.
Yeah, I used to live, and I've said before, kind of catty-cornered from that corner of Casa Bonita. So there was some apartments behind that corner. Anyway, so. I just have to ask, is Argent going along on this trip?
She is not. Argent does get to show up in this book, and she does have some things to do, but I will warn you, she is not a major player in this one, which I am sad about, because I do love her.
Yes. Get away! You chew up the scenery!
Exactly. She's kind of that catalyst character, right? Who, if she's on screen, she tends to steal the scene.
Well, maybe she felt like she had other things to do. And I know that sounds like a really weird thing for people who have, if you're anybody who's just discovered this podcast and this is your very first time, I think we've all kind of come to some sort of agreement that for authors that work on, series-long stories, characters kind of tend to come to life and at times hijack where the story is going.
Absolutely. And she does, and I will spoil this, she does get more to do in the spinoff, Rogue Community College. You will see her again.
Oh, okay. That's an announcement?
Yeah,
Yay.
so she will be in the spinoff. She definitely has a role to play in that book. And I think of these characters like in my one of my epic fantasies, a character named Rapture. She's an assassin. Argent is of a similar vein. These are catalyst, powerful characters that, like you said, they're scene stealers, and so they either need to be the star of the book or they need to be used in just the right dosage.
Right.
And
if you let them go, it would be 600,000 words.
Precisely.
And next thing you know, you're writing
and nothing would get accomplished.
Well, not just that, but next thing you know, you're writing a story that, well, this was not where I intended it to go. I mean, and we've seen that happen with a number of authors where they just, they're pulling in this character because, dadgummit, I can't seem to get anywhere without this one character. Okay, fine. I'll start writing. I'll start using you. And next thing you know, well, dadgummit, now next thing I know, okay, you've just become president of the United States. Great. No, I didn't have that planned, but thank you very much.
Yeah, that's Vran from Trailer Park Trickster, who also will be coming back in Deadbeat Druid. He is very much in that same vein. Vran is always in the back of my head being like, is it my time? Is it my time? So it's nice to finally have a place for him to be, so he'll shut up and stop whispering, because it's like, you don't belong in that epic fantasy. Get out of there. It's not your book.
It's not your book.
Yeah?
You don't belong there. How am I going to introduce you?
I feel like Kermit on the Muppet Show stage managing. Right? That's very much how I feel a lot of the time. Like
that is an excellent analogy. We gotta write that one down. That's a good one to remember.
So this book is coming out the 18th. I hear rumblings that some bookstores apparently got it soon.
I'm excited about that. So some of the indie bookstores out there have already received their shipment. So one of the coolest things about working with Blackstone is everything is printed in the United States in Ashland, Oregon. They have a printing press of their own, and that thing just runs 24/7. So they are already printing copies of Deadbeat Druid. I was at fall con for the Mountain Plains Booksellers Association yesterday and was able to sign real copies of it.
Oh, cool.
I didn't even have a copy of it yet.
Oh my gosh.
I totally stole one, just to tell you. But I don't even have my copies yet. So real copies are already being printed and shipped out in some cases. And I'm not in danger. You know, sometimes authors can be a little like, oh, don't sell it before the date, because there's a whole thing about if you sell before release date, it can dilute the sales, and your chances of hitting the New York Times or another list is diluted by that. I'm not in any danger at this point in my career of hitting the list. So especially if an indie bookstore gets it early and they want to sell it early, please do. If it helps an independent bookstore do better,
exactly.
Please go. You have my blessing to sell my stuff early.
Super. And so the next things you said, just reiterate what it was that's coming out, and if you can give us kind of a 2-sentence synopses of those.
Sure. So we've talked a lot about Deadbeat Druid, the third book in the Adam Binder series. That's out October 19th, 2022 from Blackstone. Next year, Halloween, so October 31st, 2023, is Dark Moon Shallow Sea. It's a completely unrelated epic fantasy set in an original world. I'm very excited about this book because it's the book of my heart. Don't tell the others. And what's really nice about this is I got to write in a world without homophobia or racism or sexism, but what religion you have, which God you worship, that might get you in trouble.
Really?
Interesting.
So this one's got a very kind of dark, a little bit of Greco-Roman. Got to use a lot of my classical history understanding and medieval, so it's got a nice kind of dark, creepy vibe to it. I could talk about it for hours, so we'll have to do that again some episode. And then the following year, 2024, I have Rogue Community College, which is a spin-off from the Adam series. So I've already alluded to the fact that you'll see Argent again. There are characters in Trailer Park Trickster and in Deadbeat Druid, which will be returning in Rogue Community College. And the end of Deadbeat Druid, there are some things that happen that will explain where RCC is coming from, like why that book exists or how that comes to be.
Oh, so basically, you can't give us like a little synopsis as to what that's about, because that will be a spoiler.
I can tell you this much. It's about an undertaker. It's about, which is a group of magical assassins. It's about a boy named Isaac, the Undertaker's boy. He has, quote-unquote, run away from the Undertakers, and he has found himself conscripted into the Elven School for Wayward Practitioners. So he's been brought in, forced to attend this school, a little bit of the community vibe there, but what they don't know is he's actually there to bring it down from the inside.
Interesting.
Ooh,
that's
okay. And
exciting.
events at the end of this of the book coming out that will dovetail into this.
Yeah, you'll definitely feel some, that's the setup for that spinoff.
Cool.
Another little thing to note is that he immediately runs into problems because he figures out that the school is alive. How do you assassinate a building?
Aha.
Okay.
Fascinating.
Okay, that should be fun.
Yeah.
And there's, it's a David Slayton book, so you're going to have some boy flirting and some boy kissing. And so.
Ooh.
I would be disappointed if there weren't any.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one. It's Umbrella Academy meets Doctor Who, so it's got a lot of
Now you've really got my attention.
Yeah.
found family dysfunction with a little bit of the heart and romance and intellect beats cynicism of Doctor Who. So I really it's just a big pile of vibes right now, but I have to finish it in a month, so hopefully I'll have a cohesive plot soon. It has a plot.
Okay.
It's not that bad.
And you'd earlier mentioned another book that you are planning to release at some point, and I can't remember the title of it all of a sudden.
Sure.
It's a geeky
The rom-com. Yeah.
Rom-com. So this is To Catch a Geek. It's going to be from Crazy Maple Studios, and they release everything on an app, and then about 6 months later they release a book, an ebook, and all that. So it'll come out from Crazy Maple. I don't have the release date yet. It's a completely different format because of that app writing, so it's been a lot more back and forth and edits than I'm used to. because the chapters have to be really short and succinct. But the whole pitch for that is, imagine your favorite sci-fi franchise, and that the creator has posed for all those years as a progressive, forward-thinking person. Only he wasn't as cool as he seemed. And now he's passed away and left the rights to his properties to his grumpy son. The grumpy son does not want anything to do with the properties. He started on the show as a kid, had to be in robot makeup, has no good memories of his dad, has no good memories of any of it. He just wants it to die and go away. So he is mortified and really annoyed when the King of the Nerds shows up saying, hey, I want to reboot this property, and the fans really want it. We've raised a lot of money. Will you give me the rights? So it's a grumpy sunshine, if you know that trope. Mm-hmm. And I had so much fun. I got to write a terrible gay bar I called the Ball Pit. That's the kind of humor you're looking at here. And then what I really enjoyed about it was playing these two characters off of each other, each of them kind of growing. And my kind of tagline for it so far is never date your heroes.
Uh-huh.
So you've got this whole thing between the two boys as they're each trying to understand, grow out of their perceptions of this sci-fi property, Space Rangers. And it was just a lot of fun to write something so different. There's no magic. It's for me, it's like, where are the dragons? I'm kind of going through a drawl. But there is a whole video game thing, so I did get to work in a little bit of something that kind of gives me that fix. So yeah, I really love this book. It's a lot of fun, and that's I don't know the release date yet. It's from Crazy Maple Studios, and it should be out in 2023. But my editors and I are still going back and forth on it.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
So unfortunately, we're up against the clock. I would love to talk to you some more, which means we'll just have to have you on again soon.
I hate that.
I know. What, hate coming back on the show?
Yeah.
No, it's the bloody clock. But in the meantime, so where can people, first, social media. Do you have a social media presence?
I have an immense social media presence. Just Google David R Slayton. Don't forget the R, and you will find me. Put David R Slayton books, and I'll pop up even faster. I'm very active on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter a lot. Instagram. I'm terrible at video, but I'm getting better at TikTok, so you'll find me on TikTok, and Facebook too. So and if you want to sign up for my newsletter, just go to davidarslayton.com and sign up. And I promise not to spam you. I only email when I actually have something legitimate to tell you, like where I'll be. For example, I'll be at New York Comic Con next weekend, October.
Ooh. Oh, nice.
8th, so I'll be there on Saturday for a bit. And I have a lot of appearances for the Deadbeat Druid release over the course of October and November. If you just go to davidarslayton.com and click on appearances, you will see all that.
And if people want to buy your books, where can they find them?
They are everywhere. I do want to really strongly support your independent bookstore. If they don't have it in stock, they can always order it for you. And, if you get this early enough, you can even have them pre-order Deadbeat Druid, and they may get it early. But I'm stocked at Barnes & Noble. I'm stocked at your local indie, your library. And that's one thing I really want to stress, too, is if you can't afford it, and I totally understand it, use your public library. It's better for the authors than piracy. We actually get something out of that. And of course, if you have another recourse, because sometimes you don't, Amazon has everything as well.
And what formats? Because I know that Kindle audio, because I believe, will this be on audiobook as well?
Yep, all of my stuff from Blackstone, so everything I've released so far and everything up to the rom-com so far is same-day release audio. So you have ebook, paperback, audio, and I'm happy to announce the Adam series will be out next year in French from Braguillon.
Cool.
Very nice.
Blackstone is also now publishing all of my books in large print, paperback, hardback. So,
for us old people.
Cool.
Yeah, so if you are a little visually impaired or you know somebody who doesn't want to read them, you can now grab them in large print, hardback.
Outstanding.
That is absolutely fabulous. Thank you, David, for being on our show again. This is just wonderful.
Thank you for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure.
All right.
Hi, this is Barbara.
And Bryant Dillon of Fanbase Press.
And you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
as always.
Oh, David
great
is
to talk to
incredible.
David.
I love chatting with him.
He is always just a treat to talk to, and especially about his stuff.
And we didn't wax on about Oklahoma this time either.
Not too much.
Not a lot.
Just about Casa Bonita. And here's a few selected birthdays for October 3rd through October 9th, 2022. We have Noah Schnapp, American actor, gained recognition for playing Will Byers in the Netflix science fiction horror series
Stranger Things.
Strangest Things.
Strangest.
Stranger.
Strangest Things.
The Stranger Things. His film roles include Roger Donovan in Steven Spielberg's historical drama Bridge of Spies, and the voice of Charlie Brown in the animated Peanuts movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then we have Denis Villeneuve, is a Canadian filmmaker. Internationally is known for directing several critically acclaimed films, including the thrillers Prisoners, Sicario, and the science fiction film Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, that is.
Not to mention Dune.
Dune, yes. Well, that's in his latest film, Dune, based on Frank Gervais' novel of the same name, premiered at the 78th Venice International Film Festival. Wide acclaim, critical acclaim, was commercial success at the box office, and highest grossing film to date, well, at that time, and earned him Academy Award nominations for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Picture, with the film itself winning a leading 6 Oscars at the 94th Annual Academy Awards. October 4th, Anne Rice, an American author of Gothic fiction, erotic literature, and Christian literature. Interesting.
Yeah.
She was best known for her series of novels, The Vampire Chronicles. Books from The Vampire Chronicles were subject of 2 film adaptations, Interview with the Vampire and Queen of the Damned. And then we have Marcia Lucas, American film editor and film producer and ex-wife of
George Lucas.
George Lucas. Best known for her work editing Martin Scorsese's Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Taxi Driver, and New York, New York. And then her then husband, George Lucas's THX 1138. You notice I didn't say thanks 1138.
Thank you.
And American Graffiti and the Star Wars trilogy.
Yep, she edited the original trilogy.
Yep. And then we have a friend of ours who is a comic book author, Sam Johnson. October 5th, Donald Pleasance, since it's October.
Oh, of course.
Was an English actor. He began his career on stage in the West End before transitioning into a screen career.
I thought you were going to say transcending into a screen career.
Yes, transcending. Yes, where he played numerous supporting and character roles, including RAF Flight Lieutenant Colin Blythe in The Great Escape, the villain Ernst Stavro Blofeld in the James Bond film You Only Live Twice, SCN 5241 in Thanks 1138.
Thank you.
And the deranged Clarence Doc Tyden in Wake in Fright. Pleasant starred in this as the psychiatrist Dr. Samuel Loomis in Halloween 1978, and 4 of its sequels, a role for which he was nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Actor. The series' popularity and critical success led to resurgent career for Pleasance, who had appeared in numerous American and European-produced horror and thriller films. He collaborated with Halloween director John Carpenter twice more as the President of the United States in Escape from New York and as the priest in Prince of Darkness. Guy Pearce, Australian actor. Pearce started his career portraying Mike Young in the Australian television series Neighbours. He received international attention for his breakout role in The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, one of our favorite movies. Yes. And subsequently took starring roles in Curtis Hansen's L.A. Confidential, Christopher Nolan's Memento, and Simon Wells' The Time Machine, among many others.
We can't forget My favorite,
Yep.
The Last Vermeer.
The Last Vermeer.
Oh
yes,
my
he was
God, he was
wonderful in that.
fantastic
Yep.
in that movie.
October 6th, Carole Lombard was an American actress particularly noted for her energetic, often offbeat roles in screwball comedies. In 1999, the American Film Institute ranked Lombard 23rd on its list of the greatest female stars of classic Hollywood cinema. Lombard married the King of Hollywood, Clark Gable, and the super couple gained much attention from the media. Sadly, Lombard's career was cut short when she died at the age of 33 aboard TWA Flight 3, which crashed on Mount Potosi in Nevada while returning from a war bond tour.
Oh my gosh.
Today she is remembered as one of the definitive actresses of the screwball comedy genre and American comedy, and as an icon of American cinema. There was a film, Gable and Lombard. Oh, rip your heart out at the end.
No, thank you.
Yep.
Don't need to see that.
Johan Gruffud is a Welsh actor. He came to public attention as the fifth officer, Harold Lowe, in Titanic. And then his portrayal of Horatio Hornblower in the Hornblower series of television films. Subsequent roles have included Lancelot.
Wrong, Lancelot.
Oh, wrong Lancelot. And King Arthur. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic in the
I
Fantastic
thought he was
Four.
great in that.
And its 2007 sequel, William Wilberforce in
Wow.
Amazing Grace. Blah. And
What
Tony
was that
Blair
again?
in W. I don't know. Something has Wikipedia messed up there. Anyway, his other films include 102 Dalmatians, Black Hawk Down, The Gathering, Fireflies in the Garden, The Secret of Moon Acre, Sanctum, Horrible Bosses, Foster, The Adventure, The Curse of the Midas Box, and San Andreas. On television, Gruffud has starred in the CW series Ringer and the ABC drama Forever.
I
which
loved
was
that
fabulous.
show.
And then we have friend of ours, Carla Lewis, Joshua Jeremiah, and Joe Spector of Arizona Opera. October 7th, Yo-Yo Ma, an American cellist born in Paris to Chinese parents, educated in New York City. He was a child prodigy, performing at the age of 4.5. Graduated from the Juilliard School in Harvard University and attended Columbia University, and has performed as a soloist with orchestras around the world. He's recorded over 90 albums, received 90 Grammy Awards, and is been a UN ambassador for peace
His
for
cello,
many years.
His
He's
cello
just
playing
wonderful.
is astonishing.
Yep. Then we have Niels Bohr, Danish physicist who made foundational contributions to understanding atomic structure and quantum theory, for which he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1922. Bohr was also a philosopher and a promoter of scientific research. Bohr developed the Bohr model of the atom, in which he proposed that energy levels of electrons are discrete and that electrons revolve in stable orbits around the atomic nucleus, but can jump from one energy level or orbit to another. Although the Bohr model has been supplanted by other models, its underlying principles remain valid. He conceived the principle of complementarity, that items could be separately analyzed in terms of contradictory properties, like behaving as a wave or a stream of particles. The notion of complementarity dominated Bohr's thinking in both science and philosophy. And also, a friend of ours, Mackenzie Joseph and Jonathan Lapoma. Happy birthday, Jonathan.
Happy birthday.
October 8th, Sigourney Weaver.
Hi, I'm Sigourney Weaver.
Yes. Well, that it's Tawny Madison. we just rewatched Galaxy
Well,
Quest,
I
so-
also quoted Finding Dory.
yes. She's an American actress, a figure in science fiction and popular culture, and has received various accolades, including a British Academy Film Award, 2 Golden Globe Awards, and a Grammy Award, in addition to nominations for 3 Academy Awards, 4 Primetime Emmy Awards, and a Tony Award. We've arose to prominence for playing Ellen Ripley in the science fiction film Alien, which earned her a nomination for the BAFTA Award for Most Promising Newcomer. She reprised the role with a critically acclaimed performance in Aliens, for which she received her first Academy Award nomination. She returned for the role in 2 more sequels, Aliens 3 and Alien Resurrection.
We can forget those 2 movies. Thank you very much.
Character is regarded as a significant female protagonist in cinema history.
I just pretend those movies don't exist.
Yep. She's been in Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, Afterlife, Avatar, just many other things. So she's been working a lot.
I think she's fantastic.
Yep. Emily Proctor is an American actress and activist. She played Ainsley Hayes in the NBC political drama The West Wing, and Detective Callie Duquesne in the CBS police procedural drama CSI Miami. I think she's great.
She's lovely.
Yeah. And then we have a friend of ours, Brian Tig Hughes. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Brian.
October 9th, John Lennon.
Oh, my God. What needs to be said?
What do you say? Singer, songwriter, musician, peace activist, wow, Beatles, and died in 1980. I
remember I was at my best friend's house watching television with them in their family room. Mom was there, the kids were there, and that news item came on, and we were all horrified by it.
I was laying in bed and had the stereo on in the living room and heard that and jumped up out of bed and went to listen to the rest of it and some of the reporting. It was
tragic.
Tragic. And then we have Guillermo del Toro, Mexican filmmaker, author, and actor. Director.
Love this guy.
Academy Award-winning films Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water, and winning the Oscars for Best Director and Best Picture for the latter. And then we have friend of ours, Albert Hayes, who sadly has passed away, and Jeffrey Niederauer. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And that's it for the birthdays this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com? It's just a part domain name. They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup. That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama Podcast. And just a little note, we keep playing Technorama because we've had multiple podcasts that have sent us promos for their show, and then all of a sudden they disappear.
They've pod faded.
If you have a podcast and you listen to our show and you would be interested in us promoting it at this time, contact us and then we can
work something out.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
And it's time for our feedback segment. These are comments that we received in response to articles and episodes that we ran on our website or on social media. I just completely, I changed direction and lost my train of thought. The links for each of these will be in the show notes for this episode, article number 398 at tggeeks.com. Starting with, regarding TG Geeks episode number 394, we got a comment from Susan Martin Polite. She left this for us on Facebook saying, "Thank you for the birthday wishes." And then regarding Ben's breakdown, CocoCon 2022 thoughts, got a comment from Mary Simon. We were at her panel saying, "Yay, the first panel I was on was mentioned and informative. Everyone made it such an amazing experience. Seriously, I'm glad I could be a part of it. It's one of the absolute best con experiences I've ever had. Thanks for the gentle prodding to get me out of my shell." We got a response comment from good friend Duncan Richoff who says, "Glad you were able to join us this year. Small cons are great to start getting out there and reaching new readers. Hoping we can keep building this one," and I'm in complete agreement on that, Duncan.
Absolutely.
And we close off regarding Hamish Downey's News Sushi number 129, Morsels of News from Japan and Beyond. Got a comment that was left on our website from Big John 3, who was mentioned in Hamish Downey's News Sushi, who says, "Oh man, thank you so much for the shout out. Got quite a few more projects this month and into the winter."
Yay.
And that is our feedback.
If you want to leave a comment on anything that we publish, whether it be one of our articles or one of our episodes, you can do that on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, and you could receive a shout out in a future episode. We also have a listener feedback line that nobody's taking advantage of in a while.
It is so dusty.
Yes, we want to hear from you. If you want to call our listener feedback line and leave a voicemail, we'd be glad to play that on air, and you could be famous just like us. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. And as always, please play nice.
For more than 2 decades, Judy and Dennis Shepard have honored their son Matt by working to erase hate around the world. The Matthew Shepard Foundation honors his legacy by inspiring the good work of activists, teachers, artists, and legislators, and everyday LGBTQ+ folks and their allies. Join us today in helping to erase hate. Visit MatthewShepard.org.
Thank you to NBC, Comcast, Universal. Well, as everybody knows, we're huge supporters of independent creators, and whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or others, we want to encourage you to go to their websites, their Etsy pages, their Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you might find them. Look at their stuff, buy their stuff, chat them up about their stuff, chat other people up about their stuff. Please consider supporting independent creators. If you are trans or are questioning your gender identity, and if you are in crisis or are feeling isolated and need someone to talk to, or you know of someone in a similar situation, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to translifeline.org to learn about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help. You are not alone.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, you know. They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, we've got a few minutes.
Amazing.
I know. I'm most pleased because I love that we get to talk about this. We are on another rewatch of
Grimm.
I managed to buy a Blu-ray boxed set of the entire series, and I love the packaging because it looks like one of the Grimm books that Nick looks through. It's got little the illustrations are right out of some of those books along with some of the descriptions. It doesn't have all of the Vesson, but it has some of the more notable ones, and it's kind of nice to look through that whenever we're watching a new episode. But how are you're really enjoying it, because I know you keep saying, "Oh, can we watch another one?"
Yeah, I like this series. It was really incredible the first time we watched it, and it was it continues to be exciting to watch it again.
You know, I'm really saddened that because when we were with Slice, we had the opportunity of interviewing both Reggie Lee as well as Claire Coffey. Reggie plays Sergeant Wu, and Claire's Adeline Shade. And unfortunately, we were not watching the show at that time.
Yeah.
And I feel really badly about it, because I think we would have enjoyed those interviews a heck of a lot more.
Absolutely.
Had we been watching this show from the ground up.
It just wasn't in our rotation.
No, it didn't. It did not cross our path, sadly. And one of my biggest regrets, but boy, we just love this series so much. And I'm just like anxiously awaiting. We're only like maybe a quarter of the way into season 1.
I think we're halfway through.
Halfway?
Yeah.
I don't think we're quite halfway yet. We're getting there, but not quite. But I'm really excited for when they start introducing the heavy season-long mysteries and arcs. I mean, because that's when the series, for me, the series started off great. It hit the ground running. But when it started really playing on the mystery of the keys, as well as more on the 3 coins, that's when the series just became...
3 coins and a Fuchsbau.
Oh, you're going to make a song out of that. But that's when, for me, the series just took off at a rapid pace and became gripping. It was just such a great show. I love watching it again.
Yeah, it was great. And then there's
Rings of Power.
Rings of Power.
Yes, the new Lord of the Rings series. Okay, I'm going to say, I am enjoying it. I've had to just accept the fact that we cannot accept every literary thing that Tolkien wrote and just apply it to this, because as someone pointed out to me last week, Tolkien was changing his universe of Middle Earth frequently. He would write all these great story ideas and fantasies and such, and then some years later he would write a bunch of unpublished short stories, only to find out, oh, okay, so he's decided to change the origin of this. So I've just had to say, okay, let's accept the fact that we have to be flexible when watching this. I expect things to happen which don't exactly coincide with what was written down somewhere, but I just have to accept this as its own entity and move on.
Yep. And that's it for the second segment.
And it's time for our weekly review. These are items that we ran on our website this past week at tggeeks.com, and the links for each of these will be found in the show notes section of this episode article number 398 that you can find at tggeeks.com and will be shared on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Starting with Sunday, September 25th, Nerdy Chupacabras number 119 on Monday the 26th, TG Geeks episode number 397 on Tuesday the 27th, Hellraiser reimagined on Hulu October 7th. On Wednesday, the 28th, Patricia Chica's Montreal Girls selected as closing night feature of Los Angeles International Film Festival. Yay! On Thursday, the 29th, Ben's Gay Breakdown. Bros sets a new bar for romantic comedies. On Friday, the 30th, Hamish Downey's October playlist. And on Saturday, October 1st, Focus Features will release Spoiler Alert in select theaters December 2nd. We have some shoutouts. Excuse me. Wow. We have some shoutouts that we need to make. First to our good friend Arkle, Brian Weber. He is on Twitter as Geek of All Trades, and Geek is spelled the letter G, the number 3, the number 3, the letter K of all trades. He's also referred to as Brian the Ampersand List YouTuber. We mention him because he has his Arkle Times Post-Dispatch news, which does republish some of our content from time to time. And while you're looking for all things Arkle, go to his YouTube channel. That'd be youtube.com/Arkle Studios. He has a number of projects there that really need to be looked at. We must also give some shout-outs to a couple of Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, to the Gay Geeks After Hours group. Big thanks to the moderators for saying we could share away our content there. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for also allowing us to share our lovely stuff there. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And as always, we give special thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Other places we can be found are Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Amazon Podcasts, as well as where other fine podcasts can be found. Also, check us out on Sci-Fi Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays for a replay, and listen to their other content. They are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We have several links on the page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Live and be your authentic self, no matter what the world tells you. Please be kind to yourself and those around you. Stay safe, wear a mask, get vaccinated. Peace.
Cheers.